Does this $5 Denman brush dupe from Walmart give the same results for styling naturally curly hair? Today I'm doing 2 hair routines using the exact same products, one with styling with the Denman 9-row brush and one with styling with the Kiss detangling brush, so that way we can compare the results side by side. I'm also going to be using the Hask gel that I used in my previous YouTube video, but this time using the Hask curl cream underneath to test to see if it works better for my hair. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Gina and here I make videos all about naturally curly hair. I love testing new products, talking about the science of hair, and really helping you problem solve so that way everyone can achieve healthier hair. So if you're into that sort of thing, make sure you subscribe before you go. So let's dive in. The design of these brushes are very similar, as you can see. They both have that rubber backing to it, but the Kiss brush has slightly higher of an arch on the rubber backing. It's a little bit bigger compared to the Denman brush. The size is pretty much identical. Also, the handles are different. The Kiss brush has the grip handle, whereas the Denman brush has a smooth plastic. The Kiss brush, you can easily remove the backing to actually remove rows. Both the Denman and the Kiss brush can do this. However, I noticed the Denman brush was very difficult to get the backing off. I even had my husband try and remove it and he couldn't get it off either. So it definitely probably is going to require some force. I might need to wet it, so it's a little bit difficult to remove. But I do know that you can remove the backing on the Denman brush. That way you can take out rows to customize the look that you're going for. But overall, they're very similar. They both have those long plastic white bristles and then the rubber backing to it. I've already prepped my hair with heat protectant and sprayed water, and now I'm ready for my curl cream. So I'm gonna be using the exact same products. I'm starting off with the Hask Curl Care Curl Defining Cream. This is the cream that I was talking about that I should have used in my last routine. So I'm going to be showing you the results of using the Hask gel from my last video with the curl cream underneath. So this is a curl cream. I would say it's probably like a medium weight curl cream. It is kind of thick in the texture, but I don't feel like it's too heavy. It does contain coconut oil, argan oil, vitamin E. It says it has a curl activating complex. It has polyquaternium ingredients in it, which I love. I don't feel like it did a ton at really bouncing up the curls like some other curl creams that I really love, but it did the job at providing moisture, so I feel like it's good for that. It did make for a great base underneath the Hask gel, so I'm glad that I paired it with this. But overall, nothing too special, but I feel like it is a good affordable curl cream. So then I'm using both brushes to brush that cream through. Typically, I will use a different brush to brush my products through because I don't recommend these brushes for detangling because they have that rubber backing that provides tension for styling. You don't want to add tension to your hair if you're just brushing through it or if you're detangling. I hate that these brushes are labeled for detangling because it's just going to cause more tension than needed. So I didn't love how this felt on my hair. I don't love the tension that I'm getting just from brushing the products through, but I would say they're not meant for that anyways. I would just use them for styling, but I didn't want to use another brush. Fortunately, my hair was already detangled, so I'm not exactly detangling, but I was still getting some snags just from brushing the product through. But I definitely had a lot more slip in my hair compared to my last routine, so this curl cream does provide slip. Nothing too crazy, but it was sufficient. We just have one more product to apply real quick before we get into the brush styling. So then I sectioned my hair in the same way where I create a section about around my eyebrows. I did add a bit more water too. I have to keep adding water with this routine because the Hask gel goes on a lot better with water. So now I'm going in with a Hask Curl Shaping Jelly. This is the same gel that I used in last week's video. Definitely felt a lot better in my hair with that cream underneath. I had a lot more slip. So this is a very thin, lightweight, liquidy gel. It has about a medium hold in it. You can see in my last routine too about how much hold that it gave my hair by itself. And we'll have to see at the end of this video if I still have the same amount of hold. But I just did some praying hands just to smooth that through my hair. Also did the raking technique just to get it evenly applied. And then I am going to brush the gel through as well. So now for the brush styling part, which is where we can really put these brushes to the test. I'm picking up a horizontal section right over my ear and then combing down, but I'm not applying too much pressure because I really want to see how the brush does without helping it with pressing my palm against it with just doing some regular brushing. So I'm doing a couple of sections just where I'm kind of loosely brushing it. This is typically the method that I like to do anyways on the lower section because I don't like to over clump my lower section or else I end up with very stringy, sparse kind of see-through looking hair underneath. So I try and keep it just more minimal to where the clumps are a lot smaller. I just want to kind of smooth any frizz and help to define the curls, because once you apply a little bit of tension to the hair, it does give your hair more of that bounce and curl clumping even after you do separate them. So I'm just picking up the same sections on each side and kind of loosely brushing through. So I'm not getting a ton of spirals, but I don't have a ton of spirals really on this lower section anyways, unless if I brush coil. I'm just kind of brushing through. And then I usually will lean to the side and just see where any clumps are too clumped and then separate them with my fingers. So here's how the first section looks. I feel like the curl clump size is about the same. Now I am, separating it on both sides, but still I feel like the brush created about the exact same type of curls. I'm also using the brushes to cover the scalp area around my crown and also to create some lift and volume there. So I like to do this anytime that I brush style. I will just pick up a horizontal section and I will brush it straight up and back, or I kind of brush it out and just hold it with my hand. And this helps to cover the scalp area in the back. So if you have a cowlick, this is a great way to cover it. You definitely need a brush though that's going to give some tension for this to work. Using a brush that has very dense bristles will help to cover the scalp even more because it creates less separation, which then shows the scalp. But I feel like the Denman and the Kiss brush are somewhere in between. Like, it is dense bristles, but it's not as dense as like a boar bristle brush. Now I'm moving on to the front section, and this is typically where I will take vertical sections. Some of these curl towards my face, most of them do, some go away from my face, and I also usually have to do some finger coiling to get them to curl in the right direction, or else I end up with a lot of wonky curls in this section. My curls are also a lot tighter in this section, and it's my face framing section, so I usually will do a little bit more precise brush styling compared to the rest of my head, and that just helps save me time. It's kind of funny watching me do the exact same curls in the same sections on both sides with both routines, but it does give a good visual of how the brushes compare. So far they're looking pretty much identical until I get to the very front piece, where I typically will do brush coiling, which is where you wrap the hair around the handle of the brush. And that's where I noticed a difference. And I started to look at the handle of the Kiss brush, and I noticed where it has these grooves in it, which help with grip, which is awesome. It was a lot easier to hold. But you can't really do the brush coiling technique. The grooves are actually going to separate the curl versus clump the curl because they're very tightly together, those grooves. And it will also snag the hair. So you see the difference in these two ringlets. Where I'm touching is actually where I coiled the brush around the handle, which is what I'm used to doing, but that actually separated the curl clump. So I tried to do it again without coiling, and I was still getting some separation there. So I ended up finger coiling it to try and clump that curl together just so it would match. But without that finger coiling, I would have gotten a lot more separation in this curl. Now this curl is very tight on my head, but it does tend to get wonky if I don't kind of encourage it to spiral in the right direction. It will kind of go in different directions throughout. So I ended up flipping the curl over, finger coiling it to get it to go in the right direction. Whereas on the Denman brush side, it went a lot easier because I wrap it around that handle. So that way I don't have to do as much finger coiling. So I would say that's probably the biggest difference here between these brushes is that handle. But that's only relevant if you like to do that coiling technique. If you don't wrap your hair around the brush handle, then it's not gonna matter for you. After I'm done brush styling, I like to wet my hands and then just go around and scrunch my hair. And then in looking at my results compared while my hair is wet, I don't see a ton of difference between the two. Let me know in the comments if you guys spot any differences, but I feel like the curl clump size is the same. My hair looks about the same on both sides. So now we're ready to diffuse. So diffusing, very simple. I do the same routine just about every time. I usually will flip my head over and sort of hover diffuse first while sort of cupping my hair. Typically when I'm in the bathroom, I will just plop my hair over the counter instead of cupping it in my hand, because you really do want to touch your hair as little as possible when it's in the drying process. So I usually will do this first to help set the gel cast to prevent frizz before I start touching the diffuser to my hair. Then to increase shrinkage and volume, I will start touching the diffuser to my hair. So I just cup my hair in the diffuser bowl and then press it all the way up to my scalp. I also like to use the prongs of this diffuser to really lift the roots. Also, this diffuser is from Curlsmith. I will have it linked down below along with all the other products that I used in this video, but this diffuser is nice because it has such a large diffuser bowl, so it really does help to dry my hair fast with using less heat. It doesn't get too hot, even on the hottest setting. I usually would use the highest heat in the lowest speed setting. You don't want to be blowing your hair all over over the place with a high speed setting. So I usually have that on low, and then I will switch between medium and high heat because again, the Curlsmith diffuser on high is not too hot for curls, which is really nice. So here's how my hair looks after it is completely dried. I'm going to scrunch out the crunch and fluff. I didn't really have a ton of gel cast, probably about a medium hold, just like the last time that I used this gel. I did have a bit of halo frizz, which we will touch up in a minute, but I first like to kind of fluff the roots and scrunch it out to really see what I'm working with. So then to touch up that halo frizz, I just apply a little bit of the Hask gel, and I like to dilute it with some water just so it's not too concentrated, and then I glaze that over the surface. You can also do this with a hairspray, but I like just using the same gel that I used. And then I will usually pick up any curls that are looking frizzy and just kind of smooth over them. With this gel, you get way more hold out of it if you use it on drier hair. So if you can damp style or apply a second layer like this on top of dry hair, you're gonna get a lot more hold, but I like to just do this to touch up frizzy areas after I diffuse. Then I just hit it with my diffuser one more time to completely set that gel, and this also just helps to dry any remaining damp areas. So here are my dried results side by side. I honestly cannot tell any difference. I mean, on the Denman side, I have like one clump that I need to separate with my hands, but overall it looks identical. And here's a close-up of the ringlets. This is the exact same curl on both sides. I feel like it looks pretty much the same. I might have slightly more hold on the Denman side, but that could just be the way that I applied the gel or something, so you can't really look too much into that. Overall, the shape and the bounce of it looks the same. In terms of the amount of hair that I shed, this is something that I did want to compare. I have a little bit more hair shed with the kiss routine. Now, I don't know if that's from the handle of the brush snagging more, or maybe it's the base of the brush being a little bit bigger. There might be slightly more tension with the kiss brush, which could lead to more snags. So that's really the only difference other than the handle design that I noticed with this brush, is I had slightly more shedding in the brush. It is now day 2 and I wanted to show you my results. I don't have on my bright lights because I want you to really be able to see the frizz, and sometimes lighting can definitely make the hair look a lot better and kind of hide the frizz. But this is what we are working with right now. I feel like my results are pretty similar to my day 2 results when I didn't use the curl cream. Like, I do remember having some frizz, but overall the curl ringlets and definition still looked really good. I feel like that's the same. My hair definitely does feel more moisturized. The only thing is I feel like I have more of a texture to my hair. I don't know if it's from where I added some more of that gel on top of dry hair yesterday, because that's definitely the areas where I feel a little bit of a producty feeling, but not bad. It's actually giving some hold, so I think it's fine. But I do feel like if I were to refresh, I would refresh with using some of the curl cream, because I don't feel like I could really get through my hair with just the gel. So I'm not going to refresh though, because I just want to leave it and see how it looks on day 3. But if I did want to refresh, I would try and tame the frizz that I have going on. Also, sometimes my frizz is from the way that I parted my hair. I part my hair differently all the time, but just depending on which side some of these stringy pieces fall on, they might not group very well into curl clumps, and that's why they end up frizzy. So I definitely have a lot of that going on. So sometimes it's just the way that I part my hair of why I have some frizz, but overall it doesn't look too bad. In terms of the brush, I mean, it definitely helped to create ringlets, which helps the curls last a lot longer. You can tell the difference between like where I have a good ringlet versus some areas that maybe didn't get brush styled as well. They always look more frizzy and they fall a lot more limp. Whereas where you have like pretty defined curl clumps, like those areas hold up a lot better. So this is the area where I always struggle with stringiness. Like, I was trying to fix it after I brush styled yesterday, and you can see it's much frizzier. So areas that aren't as brush styled definitely are much frizzier. I will have all the products used in today's video linked in the description box down below. And if you need more help finding the perfect hair products for you, you can check out the shop page on my blog, which is basically a collection of all the products that I've tried before and that I recommend and that I like. And I include different filters. So if you want to apply the filters for a stronghold gel that contains protein, or maybe you want a shampoo that doesn't contain synthetic fragrances, there's tons of different filters that you can apply to filter down to find the perfect product for you. So I will have the link for the shop page in the description box down below. And if you didn't already see it, my previous video, it's a drugstore routine under $25, and that includes clarifying, deep conditioning, and styling products. You can see me use that Hask gel by itself without the curl cream and see how my results turned out. So I will have that video linked right here on the screen, and I will talk to you over there. Bye everyone.